and welcome to episode 307 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm Vince Hunt, writer of MI666, and joining me all, as always, are the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
The man who is currently obsessed with the band Roachford. No. He's obsessed with the TV show The Rockford Files. It's Tony, isn't it?
Cuddly toy. That's a Roachford song, isn't it?
It could well be.
Yeah.
God blimey, I didn't expect you to hit back with a Roachford.
I remember them. Yeah. They used to live in Peckham. I used to see them all the time.
There you go.
They were nice guys, actually. Yeah, I quite like their music.
Yeah. Oh, I just love the fact that, like, you know, I want to sing the song, but I'm not going to.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. We know everyone.
Which is the best part of that Alan Partridge film, the Roachford song at the beginning.
I like the bit where he's in the toilet looking up. I like that bit.
It's true. Oh dear. Anyway, this show's about comics. You wouldn't have thought it, would you? Judging by the first 5 minutes of every show. But yes, this week we're also joined by another guest. We're joined by the creator of the new comic series Splorers, a friend of the show, Sam Hardacre. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
We are well. And
can you understand my northern accent, or do I need transcripts?
What did you say? Where are you from? Oop North, Sam?
So I live in Halifax, which is basically between Leeds and Manchester.
I know it. Yes. Yeah. It's nice town, Halifax. It's nice.
It's all right.
It's better than
I live here, so I
Huddersfield,
can say it's a bit of a shithole.
Mind you, I've been to Huddersfield, which is much worse. Which isn't far away, is it?
So I'm not going to say anything.
Apologies to anyone that lives in any of these places that Tony talks about. And it's just Tony's opinion. But Sam is here to talk about something that we haven't sort of discussed for a while. Since Splorers, the great all-ages book that he's just released, is his first book. We thought to talk a little bit about releasing your first comic and working on your first comic. Especially sort of because every year the comic sort of landscape and the way of releasing things and marketing and all of that kind of stuff changes. So we thought we'd have a bit of fun talking about that as well. And just a load of comics nonsense in general. But I tell you what, there is one place where you get no nonsense but nothing but great comics. Do you know where that is?
Comic House.
Yes. Our lovely sponsors, Comic House. They are the indie comic marketplace with a difference. The difference being we love them with the power of 1,000 suns. No, they support the indie comic marketplace like we do. There's a huge selection of titles on their database. If you self-publish, you can list your book on there and start selling straight away. But they also have an app with a featured section and everything. It's basically like Netflix for comics. For only £3 a month, you get access to an enormous library of digital indie comics that we get Dan to read out what sort of stuff they've added on there on a weekly basis.
Dan?
There's loads.
Keeps him on his toes. So, Dan, take it away. What's on there?
There's absolutely bloody loads. Right, I'm just going to go back to where we started. Okay, we've got Inky's Adventures, Volume 1 by Dan Harris. I backed the Kickstarter from that, and that's a fantastic comic. It's genuinely funny.
Is that the one that's genuinely funny, and then you showed it to your son and thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't have because it's a little...
It's quite challenging. No, it's kind of... He was laughing at it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We've got a comic from Blue World Comics called Gears, which is kind of like 3 metal ladies that... the kind of drawings you'd expect Jake Scott Campbell to be drawing.
Right. Friend of the show, Jason Scott Campbell.
Them later, then.
Yeah.
We've got Flying Saucers versus the Earth, Pound of Flesh from Marcosia, and the final page we're moving on to now. We've got more Gears, Jason and the Argonauts, Kingdom of Hades, issue 1 up to issue 4 and 5. We've got South of Bedlam, issue 1 from... the name escapes me. Hollow Girl, Luke Cooper,
yeah.
Yeah. Little Death, original graphic novel from Soaring Penguin Press. Got Chlorophyll from our friend Charles Raymond.
Has that not been on there before?
I wasn't. No, I thought it had.
I think it's only just gone up there. I think.
Oh right. Okay.
It might have been able to buy on the service, but not actually on the app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we've got Pumpernickel issue 1 again from Luke. So
I'm just looking at it now, and there's the 10th Muse issue 1's on there.
Wow,
that image book, the 10th.
Yeah. But what volume is that? Because that was around for years.
Well, it says volume 1, but I thought it went back before 2013.
Yeah, it did. The 10th Muse was like, Jesus, that was like mid 2000s.
Yeah, it says 10th Muse, 2013, volume 1, number 1. But I thought it was from before then. It's definitely from before then.
It's before our time.
Yeah. Or yours, anyway. Yeah.
Oh, you don't look a day over 24, Tony.
Thank you. No grey hairs here.
Yeah, yep. The Victorian era, 24, when times were hard. But
this is bullying, Sam. Sam, he'll do the same to you. I'm glad you're here. He'll do the same to you, my friend.
No,
that's fine.
No, I'm always nice to the guests. It's on the emails when I blackmail them onto the show that the real vitriol comes out.
I was thinking about it the other day. Has anyone done like a podcast episode, maybe in comics, maybe in something else, where they've invited a guest on and been all friendly, and when they've got on there, they've absolutely like blitzed them.
McCarthy got it, didn't it? Do you remember we had Brendan on? And
yes,
he'd gone on a podcast. I won't name it, but it got about 20 minutes in, and the dude said, "Look, my friends would be very upset with me if I didn't ask you this." And he went on for like the next hour, and I'm like, it felt to me like that was the only reason they got him on.
Right, just to have a pop.
Yeah.
It's been a bit naughty, that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
because we had a chat with him beforehand and said, "Look, we're not interested in any of that bollocks. We just want to talk to you about your comics." Do you remember?
Yes, I do now. Yes,
yeah.
Which is
that's what we're interested in.
Yeah, that is all we're interested in, like comics and making comics and all that good stuff.
It's a bit disingenuous to do that, isn't it? Really,
I think so.
And also, what kind of person does? I mean, I'm just tired of it, man. Like, you just got. Yeah. We're all about like spreading positivity and it's like, trying to encourage people to do things. Why do that? It's just, what's the point of it?
I know.
Yeah.
Points, my friend. Points that people, these imaginary points that people think, but the real points lay in just the love of comics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can get so much of that on Comic House.
Very nice.
God, I completely forgot we were still doing it. If you go to comichouse.com, God, we were doing so. I remember thinking when I started on the first couple of lines of script, I thought this is maybe the most professional one. And now I've completely forgot we were doing an advert. Yes, if you go to comichouse.com.
Right, roll with it.
Yeah. You can start your 14-day free trial and dive headfirst into the amazing worlds of small press we talk about every week. And Comic House are just really great guys as well. So yeah, go and support them. And
I thought I'd let you get your sort of sponsorship bit done, but every time I listen every week, I always sort of have a quick check of the time when the podcast starts to derail. It's always within about the first 2 or 3 minutes. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I know that it used to be the last. We used to go, it's the last 10 minutes of the show. That's when it goes a bit crazy. But now it's like straight out the gate, isn't it? So what have we become? What have we become? But whatever we are, thank you very much for listening to us, as always. And we hope you love comics as much as everyone else on this show does, and making them. And well, I think let's just get started because we're here to talk about like making comics and stuff. So let's just start with this question. Sam, why on earth would you want to try and make a comic? It's hard work.
Tell you what,
it's very hard work.
Yeah, I wish I'd known that like 2 or 3 years ago. I say that I've been working on and off comics for probably like 8 years or so now. This comic, the idea for Splorers, I had in about 2013, I think 2012 maybe.
Oh wow!
And it's been bouncing around my head all that time.
And for those that don't know, it's very much like an all ages, like kids, a team of kids traveling through time. What is it? Yeah, so it's it's an all ages comic focused around 3 kids who basically one of them's like a bit of a science whiz, and he's invented a device that can send stuff back in time. And if you've read issue 1, that's fine. If you've not read issue 1, skip forward about 15 seconds. So at the end of issue 1, they get accidentally sucked into the device that sends them back in time, and they've got like a government agent chasing after them. So that's as far as it goes so far. It's sort of public facing, at least.
Oh, nice one. I want to point out you can read this on Comic House.
Yes,
you can.
Yeah.
So we should have added that into the advert.
Yeah, we should.
But if you want to read that and then jump back into the podcast, feel free.
There you go.
And issue 2 is already in the works.
Watch the money roll in if they do that.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Why did you call it Splorers rather than Explorers?
So I guess that's going to be explained later on in the series.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
But I mean, I don't mind giving it away. The general idea is that these three kids have been friends for a long time. Two of them are brother and sister. But the idea is that they sort of gave themselves this kind of name of Splorers back when they couldn't say words properly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
baby talk
gotcha.
thing. Yeah,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. Okay, good. Sorry, I just wondered.
That's all right.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid,
yeah.
I used to get shoulder and soldier mixed up.
Okay.
Right.
Well, thanks for that. I was hoping for some sort of emotional support, but that's the last time I fucking. That's the last time I fucking.
Something to say.
Yeah, I was
I don't know
thinking,
what to say from
you know,
now on.
maybe that was the time you could actually open up and reveal some of your weaknesses. But no, you're not afraid to do.
Brother
I'm
Lawrence.
from Yorkshire. We come out speaking eloquent English like from day one.
I know under weaknesses you put eczema. That's off his quote.
So you say, I mean, this idea's been in your head for a few years, but what I think, as a lot of people are going to put together their first comic and stuff, we've all got a billion ideas before we sort of narrow down the one. What was it about this idea that you just thought, yeah, this is the one I'm gonna try first?
I think, if I'm honest, it's the only one that I've kind of got a relatively solid idea of where it's kind of going. Or at least, like I say, it's been bouncing around my head for a while, so bits and pieces have been kind of dropping into place over the last few years. But like I say, you always have new ideas. And I think I tend to sort of let ideas gestate a little bit and sort of sit in my head for a few months at least, and in some cases a couple of years, just to see what other ideas come to mind over time. So rather than kind of, you know, jumping at the first idea that comes into your head and just running with it, it's kind of like using that as a springboard and then letting other ideas kind of build on top of it. Because I'm even getting new ideas now as to, you know, where the series could go, because it's at the moment it's kind of a limited series of about 4 or 5 issues. So I've kind of got a defined story arc from beginning to end.
Yeah.
But I'm still thinking, you know, well, I mean, it deals with time travel, so potentially, you know, you could carry it on for a long time if I really wanted to. So I think
Like, the good thing with the limited series I find is, like, if you wrap your story up and you think, actually, I've got more to tell, you can. If you don't want to do it and move on to another project, it's all there. And
yeah, definitely.
It's good with the small press stuff, where I find when it's like self-contained and I can talk, I'm fucking like nearly 20 issues in, but like, you know, just like
10 years
it is the start and is the end, because obviously the turnaround time between small press, you think, fuck, you know, I'll read the next issue of that next year or something.
Was there a reason you did it as a single rather than as a more a sort of graphic novel, if you know what I mean, like a kid's book, sort of a collection? Or
Yeah, so I think, to be honest, I think it's kind of getting into what Dan was talking about. So when I was first working on it, I decided to put it out as single issues, just so that I had the choice to put out an issue and then jump onto another project if I wanted to. But because it's taken so long to get issue 1 finished because of various reasons that we can talk about, I've kind of wanted to get straight into issue 2 before I kind of lose the momentum of it.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm considering taking a break after issue 2 and moving on to something else.
I think the thing that happens a lot with small presses, people do 1 issue, they may do 2 issues, and then people see them and they think, oh, would you do this story for my anthology? Or you got time to fit this in? Well, you know. And sometimes that's the reason why issues 2s or 3s or 4s gets pushed back, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's quite a common thing. I mean, you're doing something for the Drink and Draw anthology, aren't you? Is that right?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man.
I was going to put some ideas together, but for similar reasons, it was just like, you know, whilst I would like to contribute something or put an idea forward at least, you know, I weren't sure whether I could really commit to it because I really want to sort of focus on this.
Oh, that's good. I think that's a good. I think that's sometimes is a good idea, man.
Yeah.
I think you got. You know, I think it's too easy just to give in and think, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's quite. quite nice of that person to ask me to work with them, and I'll do that. But, sometimes it's better just to stick with what you know and what you're doing, and that's your vision.
Yeah. I think a lot of people sort of talk about when you're creating distractions, such as, like, the internet, movies, video games, whatever. But other creative projects are a massive distraction. They can be a total massive. Sort of like, it's the magpie effect. It's that, I'm working on this, but there's this new shiny thing that could be my opus. Never is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely like that. I've got so many different sort of comic ideas that I've started to work on in various different kind of stages. So I've got to roughing pages or scripting or whatever, and I've lost steam for them and just kind of gone, right, I've got stuck, or I'm just kind of going off the idea, so I'll jump onto this new thing. So I think that's kind of why I'm digging my heels in a bit as well, just to, to sort of fight that urge.
So what would be your advice to, like, those people that, like, especially with the first comic? Sometimes people don't even get to their first comic because they have these creative distractions all the time. They get to 5 pages of the first one, then move on to another project. What's your advice to, like, people that just to stick with one potential thing? It sounds like an obvious thing, but it is pretty difficult for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely difficult for me because, like I say, I'm that kind of person who does chase after that new idea constantly. And to be honest, I do get quite bored easly drawing the same characters over and over again, which is really good for a comic artist.
Worse but yeah.
But I've kind of over the last year or so, I've been able to sort of really fight that urge, and it's just taken a bit of willpower, really, just to kind of power through and say, right, no, I'm going to keep on working on this. I'm going to keep on working on this. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see that I have strayed a couple of times, like for a day or two, working on different ideas. But then I've always sort of brought myself back. Man.
It's a hobby at the end of the day. Don't stress.
Yeah. When anything becomes not fun, then why doing it? Why do it?
Yeah, for definite.
Like marriages.
I think Mark Jackson, I've heard say before, you gotta sort of come at it as if it's a job. And ever since he said that, that's kind of really helped my approach. So, I don't necessarily have a set amount of time each day that I can work on stuff because it just depends on family and things like that.
Yeah.
But my focus now is I've got to do something each day that contributes to the project. Yeah. So even if that's just like roughing out a panel or inking a panel that takes me 10 minutes, it's like, right, okay, I've done that panel. I don't have to do that tomorrow. Which I don't think that's quite what Mark Jackson talks about when he talks about, treat it as if it's a job, because if you were doing that, you'd be saying, right, I'm going to work till, from 8 till 11 every night. And I just can't commit to that, really. And like Tony was saying, this is a hobby for me. So if I did work like that much on these projects, I probably would start resenting it a little bit, because there are some days, we work full-time jobs, we've got family and things like that. There are days where it gets to 9 o'clock and I'm thinking, I've not done any comic work tonight and I really can't be arsed.
Yeah.
But I kind of, but because I've got into the habit of doing something every day, that's one of the days where I'll kind of roll out I'll do one quick panel and then I'll give myself the night off, kind of thing.
Comics people generally a bit OCD, aren't we? We kind of, it gets to me if I don't do a comic thing as part of a project every day sometimes, but it shouldn't do. We should let it.
Definitely get guilt if I've not done.
Yeah. I think when it comes to like evening times, I think I'm just a lazy bastard. And if I don't have this kind of,
I'm always drunk.
And driving.
I wish. No. But if I didn't have this daily thing set in place that I've got like a to do on my to do app that says, right, you've got to do something on your comic today, I would sack it off, and that's partly why it's taken so long to get issue 1 done.
I tend to get up about 1 or 2 a.m. and then go home.
Kind of back to my own experience, that kind of like thing of treating it as a job, I'd read that like you got to take it seriously and you've got to like regiment it and stuff's got to happen at certain times, like fortunately for me, I've got like the schedule of like I've got these 2 pages to do each week, and I know at a certain point if I'm under the cosh, like I think, oh fuck, I haven't done X, Y, and Z in the process, and this has got to be put out by a certain time. And I think definitely giving yourself a time scale, a manageable time scale that you can work to. Because for me, if I sat down and said, right, I'm going to draw a 21-page comic, I'll get it done when it gets done. I'll just do it when I can. You're kind of setting yourself up for it to slip. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you said, I'm going to have this done by August, and I've got to get all the pages drawn by this date, I've got to get it inked by then, coloured by then, etc., etc. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm toying with that with issue 2 because obviously I know how long it's kind of taken me to put books together, and I really don't want people to have to wait like a year for issue 2.
Yeah.
I'd like to get it out, sort of September time ish.
You mentioned like you had some issues with creating the first one. Like, what were they?
Yeah. So I mean, I originally started roughing issue 1, and it was sort of May 2019, I think it was.
Okay.
And it just, like I said, like just because of my schedule, it just took so long to get through like the rough layouts and stuff like that. And I was also kind of finding my feet with my process, so I didn't have a defined script. I was kind of scripting here and there as I was going along, so there was lots of going backwards and back and forth and redoing pages and rethinking panels and all that kind of stuff. So it took me absolutely ages to get like 16 pages roughed out. And then same for inking. So I started inking the book in October 2019 because I did it as my Inktober project. So rather than doing a separate thing, I thought, right, I'll use this opportunity to get some inking done every single day and see how I get on. And yeah, it just carried on like that. And I think part of it is, like you were saying, like there's this lack of a defined deadline of saying, right, I'm going to get this finished by X point. It was just like, I'll get it finished when I get it finished. So I was kind of inking all the way through into lockdown, actually, I think it was. I kind of finished, so it took me about 6 months to ink 16 pages, which is, thinking back, is absolutely ridiculous. But then I got talking to Aaron Rackley at Little Heroes and Fair Spark Books, and he really liked what I was working on, and I signed on with those guys at around the start of lockdown. But then obviously the sad kind of effect of COVID has been that people have shut the doors, and unfortunately they had to shut the doors before we could get the book out. But when I first signed with them, they wanted to change the approach from an individual issue kind of series to a graphic novel. So I kind of pivoted from issue 1 onto writing scripts and roughing out the rest of the book for 6 months last year.
Yeah.
So
that's again why issue 1's taken so long, because for most of last year it was no longer issue 1; it was just part 1 of a book.
Yeah, but by doing that, has that put you in a better sort of standing for the rest of the in the long run?
Yeah,
found it all out. Yeah,
yeah, for definite. I mean, it's been a really good kind of a way for me to really improve my process. So when I first signed with them, obviously I got assigned an editor, Tom Stewart, and he's been really good at giving me feedback and things. And it got to a point where I kind of started to get a vibe for how he was working, and I started anticipating some of the things he'd come back with. So, I'd do a bunch of pages, and then I'd flick through them and think, right, what's Tom going to say when he sees these pages, and then make the edits beforehand. So then there were quite a few times where I'd send him a bunch of pages and he'd kind of go, yeah, that's fine.
Interesting.
So it has been really beneficial, because like I said, now I do have a kind of end-to-end story arc that I've got a plan in place at least.
I mean, that's I find kind of, if you're going to do a series, like having the end in sight and it fleshed out is, it's kind of got to be done. Otherwise you end up with Disney Star Wars. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I could hear you moving away from the mic.
Shifting his arse about.
Yeah. I mean, I did have like the broad strokes of the ending in mind already. So I've added a few things and changed a few bits, but there are a few key bits that are sort of attached to the underlying theme of the book, particularly around like the relationship with the brother and sister and things like that, which I kind of, when I started writing the rest of the book, I had those kind of markers in place, and then I just had to figure out the bits in the middle.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So with that in mind, like, you know, for those people who aren't, you know, if you're out there and you've got an idea for your comic book and it isn't a one shot or one and done or an original graphic novel or whatever, and you are thinking about doing like a limited series and stuff, you know, what advice or learnings, you know, would you say it's beneficial to sort of walk before you can run in terms of like the planning and plotting and getting everything, you know, because it sounds like that has helped so much, you know, taking a step back. I know the first issue came out slightly later than you wanted, but because you took a step back, it's helped you in the long run to probably put the other issues out quicker, I presume.
Yeah, I think so. I'm hoping so for sure, because like I said, I've already got issue 2 roughed out already, and it's been edited by Tom and everything, so that's kind of ready to go. So I'm just trying to get the inking done now. But to anyone who's sort of in that situation where they've got this idea, what worked for me when we started fleshing out the rest of the book, I started looking to like what animation studios do and things like that. So I'm a massive fan of like Pixar and things like that. Okay. And I watch a lot of crap on YouTube about, you know, how films are made, and like they do really deep dives into like tearing apart scripts and all that kind of stuff, and story structure and all this kind of stuff. So what I did was I started out with little business card size bits of cardboard where I'd write down a story beat.
Yeah.
And I just had a stack of those. And I've still got pictures at somewhere on my phone where I was sending those to Tom and saying, here's the story beat structure for issue 2, and then here's issue 3, and then here's issue 4, or, you know, part 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he'd kind of give it a quick look over and say, yeah, that kind of makes sense, that's fine. And then from that point, you know, I'd then go and script it. So it became a sort of a linear process, but it's starting at the kind of at a macro level of kind of looking at the whole thing, even if you're just looking at an issue, looking at one issue and being able to see the whole thing in like, right, this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and not really worrying about this person says this, which leads to this. It's like, here's point A, there's point B. I'll worry about how those connect up when I get to scripting.
Yeah.
So that's worked out really well for me.
There's a satisfaction as well once you have those sort of bullet points, and then it all starts to flow together. And there's a satisfaction even before like the pen touches the page for the artwork. You're like, I know there's a beginning and there's a middle and then there's an end. Do you know what I mean? There's a satisfaction to like, at least this is going to be. You know, you've got the roadmap, haven't you? You've got the
for sure.
I work like that. Do you work like that, Vince? When you put yourself, I'm not sure about you, Tony. How you do your writing process?
It's changed actually. It's changed because I used to write it all and then send it off, and then say, you know, drawing monkey. That's how I used to do it.
It's more collaborative now, isn't it?
But now I've changed it where I'll have it all in mind, and I'll have the page beats laid out, and I'll write probably 3/4 of it, and then I'll chat to the artists, see how they get on with it, see where their strengths and weaknesses lie, and I sometimes mull the ending over. Sometimes I think the ending's just changed on something I'm doing with Demetrius Zach, because I just knew he could do it. So I'd always thought that would be a good ending, but he's got the ability to do it, which I kind of liked. So he did change the ending. Yeah.
But do you do that? Follow that process of like, right, here's the beginning, middle, end. Here's the story beats I want to work in. Or do you just kind of like go for it?
What, me?
Yeah.
No, I tend to have. It depends on the project, mate. I'll be honest with you.
I
do a Bible. I'm doing a lengthy Bible, so I've got quite a big screen computer. Like I've got a big desktop, and I'll always have the Bible open, and the Bible will be added to as I write through, and then I'll keep sending. I'll have it as an open Dropbox project with the artist, and because I'll add a couple of things to the Bible of characters that are coming up later. Have a look, see what you think. And I think that's the sort of collaboration. I don't do it with everyone. Some people who I don't really know, or people new to our project, and I'll just send them the script. But Yeah, some of them it's sort of with me and Adam, we chat about it first, long before I write it. Yeah, and if it makes us laugh, then I'll go away and write it. It's just to be how it is. Yeah.
Do you have a character Bible, Sam? I mean, one thing I've started to get doing now is I'm working on the project. I put together a mood board, and I always thought they were really wanky in college. But like, I saw someone doing it, and I was like, I quite like that because I can like flash up this picture, all these pictures I put together, and think, I can get a feel of an idea of what I want to go for with this. Is that something you did?
I don't at the minute. No, it's definitely something I need to look at. It's because I've got this massive problem that's really pissed me off with issue 1, where halfway through I sort of started changing the character design slightly, just like bits of clothing and things like that, and I've had to go back and sort of edit them in post in digital,
really
in Photoshop. Yeah, and I didn't realise until I'd scanned it all in. I was colouring it, and I was like, Jesus, that guy's, on page 5, that guy's just wearing like regular jeans, and then on page 7, he's got like little turn-ups with little like brown shoes on.
Yeah,
and I was like, for fuck's sake.
That's another example of why it's easier being a writer.
Yeah, when I was doing the Red Mask and stuff, I wish I had done the concept art, of like the different uniforms and different things like that. Because when I was working on like later issues, I was referencing the earlier comics, so I could get it right,
keep it consistent,
rather than having like those skeletons and like all that concept art and stuff. Pinterest is, I guess, a big thing for a lot of people in terms of mood boards, Dan. In terms of a digital mood board, is that something?
I've never looked at Pinterest. I don't know what it's about. What is that?
It's basically you see visual things you like, and you just
pin. So
was it like Pornhub?
You can get shady stuff on it if you.
Right, okay.
But essentially, it's like, say you typed in RoboCop. There'd be a load of stuff on RoboCop, and you can say, "Well, I quite like that image." And when you click on that image, it will give you stuff that's similar to that.
Yeah,
and you can go down like a bit of a rabbit hole. So if you wanted to type in, like, I've got one for Vanguard, like got cybernetic limbs and stuff.
Yeah,
and you can click on them, and then
you can create separate. You can create individual. It's essentially like an online mood board, isn't it? It's really like
save that board as like, this is my cybernetic arm board, or this is my post-apocalyptic board, and you send that, like, you keep it private and send it to your artist and say, this is what we're kind of going for.
Yeah, which I think a lot of people probably do. A lot of writers probably do, don't they? They create like a Pinterest and just sort of say, hey, check out this board. This is what I'm thinking of for different sort of things.
I generally find, like, if I want a bit of reference or an idea of how to do something, I'll go to Pinterest, because it seems it's a bit more curated than Google.
Yeah.
If you just type in something in Google, you'll get products coming up. You get a load of old stuff. Whereas if you look for that, you'd get more visual stuff that's been picked out because it's visually interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you can get a load of old tosh on it, but you can get that on any bloody internet search. Whereas, if you're looking for specific things, it can be a great sort of visual asset. And also sometimes, inspirational and demotivational when you look at stuff and just think, oh, you fucking talented bastards.
I've looked before when I've like thinking, right, I need to do a cover idea, or I need a composition or something, and I've looked up like alternative film posters, and they're like fan-made posters for like films,
which are always usually better than the ones that actually went out.
Always better. But sometimes I see it and I think, oh, that gives me an idea, and then I've used that as a springboard to kind of work off, and sometimes you just need that kind of, oh yeah, that's a great idea, and then it usually ends up nothing like what you started with, but it's a nice little one to go from.
Yeah. Have you actually have you ever checked out posterspy.com?
I haven't, no.
You haven't checked out that? If you like sort of like movie artwork and stuff, it is very much like that. It's just loads of creative like people just doing illustrations or different bits of artwork. It's almost like a Pinterest board, but it's an actual proper website and stuff, and they're adding stuff all the time. And you can sign up to like a free email newsletter. I don't work for them, by the way, but you can sign up to like an e-newsletter. So they send you like the Monday inspiration, where it's literally just amazing artwork, just some talented people that and sometimes you see a post and you think, oh, I wish I had that idea.
Yeah, just steal it and
yeah,
flip it.
Yeah. Or sometimes, sometimes they do. Yeah, sometimes they do fantastic artwork, and you think, God, that actually makes me interested in that film. But I know the film is shit.
Yeah.
That's the world I live in. I love a DVD cover, and then you watch it and you think, "Fucking hell."
Yeah.
That's filmed against a curtain.
Yeah, I tell you, what I love about those sort of VHS covers and the Arrow video stuff, the limited edition, some of the cover artwork they get done for that is absolutely stunning, isn't it? Like, you know, those sort of those strange like Italian exploitation films and things like that, but they've got these beautiful painted covers, or like artwork by the
Graham
dude
Humphreys.
the dude designs that. I'm sure Dan knows the dude designs.
Yeah, I've got that. Looking at that book, he curated the VHS video cover art.
Oh yeah.
They would sell an idea of a film on the cover, and you think, oh man, this looks brilliant, and you get it home and there's like three geezers riding around the LA desert pretending to be in the apocalypse.
I mean, we're kind of used to that, aren't we? We had that with science fiction novels, didn't we? You know, this like amazing cover, and you think, oh, that's a bit dull.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Drew Struzan has done a few as well, where the posters look absolutely mint and the film is absolute dog shit.
Yeah. He's an absolute legend. That one.
Yeah.
Inspired many a composition as well. But I think it's one of those things. I mean, people talk about, you know, I remember the days when I went into their local video store and you just see all the different covers and stuff. It's not the same now. But that can work the same for comic covers, I think.
Exactly the same comic covers.
Exactly
you got to be drawn to pick it up off the shelf, whether it be a digital shelf or a physical shelf these days. And a lot of covers don't do that for me anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of them just. We've had this conversation before, but I've looked. We do our Wednesday comicosology thing. This week I was like, I'm not really too mad.
We've been a bit browbeaten around that recently, haven't we? We haven't really been finding huge amounts.
You sort of looked at some of the covers and it's like, bloody hell, there's a lot going on that. And when you click on it, it looks fine, but the tiny thumbnail of it just looks like a you can't pick anything out of it. It's a bit of a mess. But it's a different game, isn't it? I mean, I think that what's that? There's the X-Men one where they've not reimagined the characters, but there's like a knockoff Cyclops and stuff.
Oh, I know the one you mean. Yeah,
and I've not really got a problem with the cover or any with the elements about it, but like on the thumbnail, it just looks like a kind of a multicolour mess when it's tiny.
Yeah,
I just can't really make it out.
Is that something, Sam? Is that something you? I mean, covers obviously, especially for a first issue, hugely important. What was it like creating like your first cover?
Yeah. Oh god, it was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. Just because I kept second guessing myself. So I tried loads of different compositions, and I kind of ended up settling on the one that I actually ran with, just because I'm kind of getting sick of working on it, to be honest.
Been there, mate.
And I was like, look, it's not going to be, like an Alex Ross kind of thing at all. So stop even worrying about that kind of thing. And like, as long as the artwork looks like it belongs with the book.
True. I mean, but also like, you know, the name is very clear. You've got the composition right. You know that the main character's on there. You've got some striking colours. It ticks all the boxes for the first issue as well.
Yeah. I didn't want to. I did sort of consider like putting a lot of like, you know, fake comic sticker logo kind of stuff on it. Like, you know, like old school Marvel. But then I was like, nah, just keep it simple.
Yeah, good shout. We were not tempted. I was going to say, I guess the one temptation to do like a time-related story is to stick a clock in it or something. What? You know, like
a clock, Tony. A clock, Tony. As in like, you know, time.
Okay.
Like you'd have them running over a face of a clock or...
Yeah. I can't remember.
It's good to kind of steer away from that. I'm very conscious of the double meaning now.
Yeah. I think I steered away from that just because it was that is a kind of, you know, a bit of a cliche, isn't it?
Massive cliche. Yeah, it's been done to fucking death. That. You don't really want to go down there again. So, like, what kind of did you take away from doing your first? That you think, right, the second, I'm going to do this different. This is how it should be done.
I guess the biggest takeaway the biggest change I've made is issue 2 and beyond is entirely digital. So issue 1 was done on, you know, just regular paper with Bristol board and brush pen. Things like that.
Yeah.
And it's just been a bit of a faff, to be honest, because I only have an A4 scanner, but ink on A3 paper.
Oh shit!
So you had to scan them, piece them together.
And and that's been a massive headache just to get that right. And on a few pages I've smudged the ink, and you can really see where I've used like Tipp-Ex to go over some lines and then inked over the top. It's just kind of like not a solid ink line. All these little things that I just thought, you know what, with digital inking, if I just sort of nail that, then the process becomes so much quicker. And I'm finding that as well. And I'm finding it a lot easier as well to sort of have off the cuff ideas for panels. So mainly kind of background details and things like that. Where in my roughs I've kind of vaguely gone, right, there's some trees here, or a bit of shrubbery or whatever, and then I've come to inking it. I've decided that looks a bit sparse, so I'm going to start adding a few things, and it just becomes so much easier when you can just create a new layer, ink in what you want to draw, and then maybe erase a couple of lines to get the layering right. It's so much easier from that perspective.
So how would you be working digitally, like on an iPad or Wacom or?
So I've got it's kind of like a Wacom, but it's like a cheaper brand. Is it Huion or something like that? I can't remember how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been recommended to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few mates who've had them, and I've had a few recommendations over the years, and I got one given to me by a different company, which I won't name, just to be nice. And I'll be honest, when it arrived and I plugged it in and worked on it, it was like, yeah, this is really good. But then after a couple of weeks, I started getting little problems. Like, what were the problems? They've got like shortcut buttons that you can customize.
Yeah.
So like you can have a quick undo button, change your brush and all that kind of stuff. And it'd reset like every single day. So every day when I came to work on my comic, I had to go into settings, change it all. And the guy on Twitter was like, "Oh, if you've got any problems, just contact me, and we'll get it sorted." And it went silent on me for like a month.
I know who this is. Yeah, is this the same one, Dan Wheat? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I ranted about it on the Facebook group as well.
Right.
Back in the day, because. They wanted Amazon reviews basically. So I wrote an Amazon review after like 2 weeks. I was like, this thing's really good for the price. It's really good. I've got a couple of niggles that I can live with, but then these other issues came about, and this guy went silent on me. So I went and changed my Amazon review, and I changed it from like a 5-star review to a 2-star, and said I'm having this problem. It's doing my fucking head in. And wouldn't you believe it? Within like a day, he was on to me, and he was like, "We need to change your Amazon review." And I was like, "Well, you need to fix your product first." And the guy started rolling out like, "Oh, if I don't get the Amazon review back up to 5 stars, they'll start docking my pay." And I was like, "Well, I'm sorry, right, but that's not my problem." So in the end,
that sounds so shady.
Yeah, definitely. Shady. Yeah, I did feel like emailing him and saying, "Look, it sounds like you need a new job, mate."
Yeah. Sounds like there's someone fucking standing over him with a kosh or something.
What did you change it to a 1? You drop it to a 1 or?
No. In the end, what I said, "Look, I can't be arsed with all this back and forth. It's taking more time than it's worth." Yeah. I said, "I'll send you the device back, and I'll just take the review down." They gave it me for free, so I'm not losing out on anything.
Yeah.
And the guy in the end, to be fair to him, he just said, "No, just keep the devices. It was a freebie." But fine, you can take the review down, and that's how it ended, and that's how I ended up getting this other one, because I was so pissed off with this freebie that my wife just said, "Look, just get another one that you can actually work on," and it's been really good. And
he didn't realise he was dealing with a Yorkshireman, did he? That's the problem. Straightforward speaking.
Possibly not. Yeah. But but like the Huion or the Huion or whatever you call it, I would definitely recommend that as like a cheaper alternative to a Wacom. I've never used a Wacom, to be fair, so I don't know how much better the quality is.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you don't need to kind of go absolutely nuts. You can make comics on a really, really small budget. It's not like A4 paper and a biro. You don't have to kind of go fucking nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the best things about comics, I think, is that it is so accessible.
Well, the drink and draw on Friday, we had a guy who, Matt, wasn't it, who did a cover for the 2000 AD on the back of a pizza box, and it was fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
that was good.
I love
was great,
I love
wasn't it?
Matt's pizza box artwork.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, once you've made the comic, though, and like you say, like it's hard enough work making the comic, but then you're on to the, the dreaded sell yourself phase.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which, even if we're loath to do it, we have to do. If we're creating this work and we want people to see it, especially if more and more people are using Kickstarter as well and things like that.
Yeah.
You've got to be prepared to put the sort of legwork in to sort of see, at the very least, just see what the area is like. Do you know what I mean? See where you can get the word out. What sort of steps have you gone, or what learnings have you taken from this? Because the marketing side is a massive learning, and there's always a massive learning, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things I need to get on with a bit more is, now that we're about a month away since the launch of the book, I need to keep pushing it. So when it first launched, I was like pushing it every day or so. I was like, get this, and then after a couple of weeks, I was just kind of right. I think I've probably done enough now.
Yeah.
But I think
it's a hard work thing, isn't it? Like, because we feel like, after a month, no one's going to, maybe there's a subconscious like, well, it's old news now. No one's going to care after a month. But there's always someone who's never heard of it. There is always like Stan Lee used to say, any issue is someone's first comic potentially.
Yeah.
And every post, if you look at it this way, every post, every potential sort of time of day that you say about it on social media, or you do some sort of interview or whatever, that's the first time someone's seen it. Even though we're loath to sell ourselves, really. And it is hard work, but you do have to kind of look at it like that, don't you? You have to sort of, I mean, as long as you're not going to be completely hard sell about it and a bastard.
Don't be a twat.
I think it's hard as well, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if it's like an English thing or what. But I'm not the kind of type of person who will go, "Hey, I've made this really amazing thing," and go buy it. I think Americans tend to be a bit more comfortable with saying, "I've done this shit hot thing, and you guys should really check it out." I'm a bit more kind of like, "Hey, I've made something. Go check it out if you want." If you don't, fine, whatever.
I tend to, my go-to now is I had a lot of fun making it. That tends to be about as far as I'll go now. Or I'll say he's done really well on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the go-to bits for me.
What about like getting it into people's hands in terms of whether it be stores or reviews and stuff? I know this is stuff that everyone, I think, across the board has had experience. Because especially if you're making your first comic and you're not, if you're not sort of involved in the Facebook page, you're not part of the community. Maybe this is the first episode that you're listening of this show. We apologise. But there are great communities that are all about creating and promoting everybody's work, etc. And it's a wonderful community to be part of. But if there's also so many more people that aren't part of it yet, that are thinking, I've got my comic, but I don't know anyone. And that's a nerve-wracking thing when you don't know anyone or you don't know how to go about it.
What's
your advice for finding out more?
Or what did you do?
What did you do?
So I think I've kind of discovered different communities kind of organically over the last couple of years. So like I can draw a through line to you guys through the likes of Aaron Rackley and Tom Spark. I can't remember how I got to those guys, to be honest. How I found, I think Tom Spark came through when I discovered Fair Spark and what they were doing. But I discovered Aaron through Little Heroes, who that will have been retweeted by somebody who is involved in Little Heroes. So I think what I would suggest is, especially if you're working on something now and not quite ready to publish, start following people. And you don't even have to start following people with the intention of asking them at some point to retweet you. It's more about, I really fucking hate this term, but it really is about building a network of like people. So you do have those people there who potentially will help you out with sharing stuff when the time comes. But in the meantime, you also get access, especially in comics, to like amazing work all the time that will like inspire you to keep on going. So I follow loads of artists who just really light a fire, and it makes me kind of go, right, I really want to keep going with this and get this stuff out into the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely do that. And for me personally,
what's the Sam, sorry to interrupt. What's the value of a retweet then? Do you see a value in it?
I do at the minute, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's not to say that in future I won't. I guess.
Are you seeing sales through it, or?
To be honest, I can't really put my finger on whether retweets have increased any sales. To be quite honest, I imagine they must have done, because I've had, most of the sales, to be fair, have been through people I already know. So I've been sort of sharing to my network of friends and family and whatnot. But then there are occasional ones where it's a name that I have absolutely no idea who they are.
That's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Which is really good. So there must be some element of that. But I guess for me, because it's a hobby and it's not like a main source of income, it's basically a bit of a bonus each month or whatever. I guess the value in a retweet for me is just getting my work in front of other people.
Okay. Which I think is probably extra valuable with the all ages comic scene. I think, because certainly you're going towards a market that is also not comics readers, like the parents and stuff. Do you know what I mean? If you're at a convention, definitely. I mean, there's the is this my kid would love this, and they've picked up the books and stuff. But obviously we can't do that at the moment. Hopefully we can soon. So to do it in a digital medium, you're trying to access a section of buyers that aren't necessarily looking at what you've got to sell, if you know what I mean. So
definitely,
So you have to sort of almost get involved in those sort of networks, haven't you? And like the value of a recommendation. Do you know what I mean? I mean, how many books we know have taken off because everyone's just sort of saying, "You got to get this. You got to get this." I mean, I've spent so much money on this bloody show because of the amount of people who said, "You got to get this." You bastards. I
think there's also an element of when it comes back to value of a retweet. I guess kind of acknowledging just where we are at the moment, where we're kind of still in lockdown, kind of, but we've had a year of people potentially being out of work or getting hours reduced or whatever. So there is an element of people possibly don't have as much kind of disposable income kicking around. So if people can kind of help out by sharing to their network at the very least, even if they can't actually purchase a book, that for me is really good. And it's unrealistic to sort of for me at least, I think it's unrealistic to kind of go down the route of thinking that people who retweet should buy your book as well, otherwise they don't know what they're retweeting. I just sort of think take it as it comes. And
you got to think about the value of your social media posts as well, haven't you? I mean, if you think, I want people to retweet this, then or retweet it, or share it on Instagram or whatever networks you're using and stuff. Then in essence, you kind of got to give them cover shot and examples. You have to be the convention table where someone will pick up and flick through. There has to be, you don't want your post to go viral and you haven't got your fucking cover of your comic book. You haven't got anything about your comic book. Otherwise it would be pointless. So that, I mean, I'm talking
I think
nonsense.
It depends on who retweets you, doesn't it? I think that's the big thing. You got some accounts that are literally, we see them all the time, that just sort of seem to retweet everything. They're almost like an automated retweet. I think I said something like, "Thanks, dude," thumbs up to someone the other day, and they retweeted it, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Who is this?" And then you get the people who literally live on Twitter, so their retweets are kind of meaningless because they're retweeting everything. But if you get someone who is well placed in whatever field it is that you're in, and a retweet from them can be very valuable. You know,
so
the kids book market is 1,000 times worse than the small press market. You know, small press comics, that's real dog eat dog. You know, it's really competitive. But if you get someone is it the book sniffer? She's like a big kids book reviewer. If she retweets you, then that's hella valuable. You're going to get sales. You're going to get attention. You know, out of that. But I think depends who it is sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I think it can act as a confidence booster as well. Like, so I'm over the years I've kind of got to know Jamie Smart, and he's now a friend. And you know, I didn't ask him specifically to retweet anything, but he did retweet it anyway. And for me, that's kind of like not necessarily an endorsement, but kind of the thing where, you know, someone who I look up to as an artist, and I really, you know, I've loved his work for 20 years, and I still love everything that he does.
With the big
if he retweets something of mine and says, you know, check out this guy's work, it's really good, I kind of go, that's worth a lot to me, you know, just as on a personal level.
Yeah,
which, you know, that's a real good.
It does mean something, doesn't it? I mean, you know, sometimes we've. I know certainly on the ACP WhatsApp, like if we post a bit of artwork and an artist we like or says something about a book, we're like, we just take a screenshot and go, oh my god, look at this. Because we're fans. The thing is, we're passionate about this. That's always going to be part of it. I know everyone is sort of creating product. If you're gonna, that's a cold way of putting it, but we are. But at the same time, we're doing it because we love it. You know. So as long as you still care about, like, when these notable people retweet you, rather than thinking I'm going to target that person so they can retweet it. I don't like that. I'm not so much a.
Yeah, I kind of get a bit off put if someone messages me directly and just sort of says, do you mind retweeting this for me?
Yeah.
Because then you kind of feel a bit pressured into doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if someone puts in their tweet, "Oh, please retweet," I usually will. Depending on who they are and the content. But someone generally are DMing me and asking me things like that, that's an instant no on principles.
Yeah, I mean, I might if I follow through and have a look and I genuinely think it's good, then I might consider it, or I might actually do it. But my sort of initial reaction will always be, I don't really want to do that, to be honest. But you know,
we've said that many times about Kickstarters. Don't message people about backing a Kickstarter, a private message. It's fucking this kryptonite. I just no way.
Yeah, and there's also the other one where you follow someone and they immediately DM you. They must have an automated thing going on where they immediately say, "Thanks for the follow. Hey, check out my book." And it's like, right, okay, you just want me to buy shit off you. If you sort of if you use Twitter how I use Twitter, which is to like engage with people and actually chat to people and have conversations, then I might actually go ahead and buy something from you anyway, because I like I've kind of connected with you as an artist or as a person, and that's a much better driver for me to buy something from somebody than kind of asking me. That's like the Twitter equivalent of walking into a shop and the salesperson immediately saying, "Hey, do you need help?" It's like, I've just fucking walked in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Give me a minute.
I'll never go into a Games Workshop again because that.
It's so without the BO. It's when you walk in a comic shop and they try and put a book in your hand. You're like, fuck off.
Yeah, don't. I just don't. That's for me. It just doesn't work in the UK. I don't know if it's different for the rest of the world, but I don't know anyone who likes that tactic or approach. It's just
Yeah, the whole like, oh, my name's so and so, come and find me if you need any help. It's like, well, I know how to do that anyway. I know how shops work.
Yeah.
Was it TGI Fridays or whatever where they come and sit next to you or something? And they fuck off.
Start talking to you.
Oh god, that's tragic,
man.
Yeah.
I don't come to a restaurant to talk to the waiter or waitress. I'm not being rude there. Like, evening, hello, how you doing? But I don't want to kind of have a full conversation.
Yeah, I'm trying to crack on with this bird.
From this bird. One thing, just while we're kind of talking about Twitter, one thing that gets me is when someone posts up saying, "Oh, my Twitter bot told me like 5 people followed me and 3 people unfollowed me," and it's like, that's the most boring fucking asinine shit going. No one gives a shit about that.
I think that kind of ties in again with like if you're a kind of new artist or whatever, or you're new to Twitter or Instagram or whatever, don't worry about the numbers.
No,
like,
not at all.
It's like you could look at someone, you can look at an artist who's got like 100,000 followers, and then if you look through like their likes and stuff, the actual percentage of people that actually like the stuff is so small.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous game to play. You're better off kind of just, like I said, connecting with people and developing much better relationships with a small number of followers. I can't remember who says it. It's one of those things where you don't need like, is it something like you don't need a million followers to give you a pound? You need like 1,000 dedicated followers who will give you 10 quid or whatever the math.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I think also if you obsess too much about sales, it becomes slightly too obvious. I think you just need to talk about the comic, put it out there. It's good. It'll sell. Leave it at that.
Yeah, I think if I was at this point trying to make a living doing it, I'd probably worry about that a lot more. But I'm in a thankful position that I don't have to worry about that really. It's any money that I've earned off this book, it's a bit of a bonus really. So
you're clearly having fun making it.
Yeah.
The main thing.
The thing you do now is like you don't talk about your book like, oh, I've got this book coming out. You do a hot take saying, I don't know, Optimus Prime, I think he was a closet homosexual, debate me. And then at the end of that you put, now I've got a book out on Kickstarter.
It's like, why don't you cast your comic? These something like that. And there's really obvious tweets that keep coming out from people.
Yeah, sometimes I smile when people have tweets that go viral or social media posts, and they go, "Wow, I didn't expect this to go viral. You can find my stuff here." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I'll tell you who's terrible for it. Gail Simone. She does it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think that's her thing, isn't it? Now.
Yeah, I think so.
That's don't think I follow her, Gail Simone.
Gail, if you're listening, welcome to the show.
She's never going to come on this show.
No.
Right. There's my challenge for the year.
She did once comment on my hair once. Commit at New York.
Who I'll take it back. She does follow me, and I follow her. But she's got 176,000 followers. I mean, how many of those did she engage with? Yeah. And she follows 16,000 following. So it's like you just
see if she remembers commenting on how nice my hair was.
Dear Gail, do you remember my friend Tony's hair?
He had highlights.
Right. Speaking of comic shops,
do you remember my friend Tony's hair?
Oh, here we go. He's actually typing it now.
Yeah, do it.
Legacy Comics in the actual first issue of Splorers, right? Is that based on an actual place, or what is there? Because what I did notice about the first issue is there's a good few pages sort of spent within this comic book shop, and I just thought this is someone who clearly wanted to put a comic book shop in their first issue.
Yeah, I mean, part of it was I just wanted some setting that wasn't like just a street where these kids could kind of all meet up, and I thought a comic shop might be a nice spot really, and obviously because it's a comic as well, it might speak to the people reading it as well because it's kind of a familiar environment. Specifically about Legacy, that's a bit of a hat tip to be honest. So in Halifax Town Centre there used to be a real shop called Legacy Comics, but the guy who ran it, he sadly passed away about 3 years ago or something like that. So that was my little kind of local homage. So any kind of local Halifax artists will probably recognise that.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah, and whilst the comic owner wasn't modelled on him, there were certain elements of it. So like the guy called Simon, he always used to have like a black beanie on, or I always seem to remember him having a black beanie on. But he was also a really like super passionate guy about comics, and he kickstarted this kind of latest phase of comics interest for me because I've had a couple of on-off phases since I was a kid. And yeah, he was a really nice guy, and he started putting on events and stuff. So we had like a little kind of zine fair kind of thing that he put on, and he was planning on doing it every single year. But the year after the first one happened, he passed away. So that was just a little homage, really, because he really did. He did help out a lot of people, and he was really supportive of like local comic artists.
Oh, nice.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lovely touch. Another thing I noticed about the first issue, and this is just a general question, right?
Yeah.
Across the board for like art. What is it about cars, like driving over hills and actually taking off, that looks great on a comic book page? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, if you've actually been in a car, the speed that you'd have to go.
Yeah, you worry about the exhaust pipe, don't you?
Yeah. But it's like
it really gives it movement.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And
I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know what it is. It just gives you, it does give you that movement that, you know, like you see it in animation as well, actually. Even though the car is actually moving, you still get that kind of exaggerated.
You see it a lot in European books as well, isn't it? Animation and like a lot of like European books, they do those sort of exaggerated sort of.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Did you decide after a few couple of pages of drawing cars that you would never go draw a car again?
Oh, Christ. Yeah. I think that's one of the things I definitely need to practice more. I need to practice drawing cars, because you'll flick through the book and you'll realise, like, even now I look through, I think it's on page 3 or 4 where the comic book shot, like the exterior of the comic book is shown. There's like one car, and I look at it now and I'm thinking, that probably needs a bit more work, like a couple more cars maybe to give it a sense of life. But I don't know.
I mean, I didn't necessarily think that, but I do take that in point that, like, you know, when you don't have, it's so many comics, and I've done this when, like, you know, you've just got streets, but then, like, if you create these backgrounds, you then have to populate them, because, like you say, otherwise they're just a static shot, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I know, Dan, you do tips for yourself, don't you? Where you, like, if you're creating a crowd scene, or, like, you know, you sort of, you create like a few, and then like you'll copy and paste, but you'll change the colours so that when you look at it as a whole, you know, there's
it's like a mass as opposed to kind of like. I mean, hats off to anyone who draws an entire crowd off the bat. But I'm lazy and take shortcuts.
Yeah. And it's knowing with that sort of stuff when to cut back on it as well. For instance, if you're going to have like a street full of cars and stuff, you might think, oh my god, I've got to do a traffic jam. But a traffic jam is, I don't know what I'm talking about, but is much like a crowd scene. Not all the cars have to be immensely detailed.
No, I think that's the skill of a true illustrator, cartoonist, that they can sort of, you can suggest that traffic jam and you don't have to draw all of them. It's a real skill. Same way with cities, anything. Just there's this hint and suggestion of it, of enough to give you the idea that it is what it is without going fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. Calvin and Hobbes is like classic example of that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a masterclass in knowing what to leave out.
So, I mean, like, there's a few lines he's in the snow. The next one, like, Spaceman spiffs on an alien world, and they're not overly rendered, but Bill Wilson's just done enough to inform you as a reader where they are and make you feel like you're there. It's fantastic work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I definitely need to learn a bit more how to do that. Like at the minute with issue 2, it's kind of dealing with a lot of like jungle backgrounds and things, so loads of trees and stuff. And I'm kind of I'm in a phase at the minute where I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly how much background I'm going to actually add in, because to be honest,
it's the
practical side of it. Yeah, but there's the practical side of, you know, I know that a good portion of this comic will take place in a jungle setting. Do I really want to draw trees in every single panel? Because that'll just take forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'll be all right.
It'll be great.
I've included. We're talking about covers there. I've put in the chat a good image that would make a nice cover of me riding a unicorn carrying a baguette.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Oh,
I love that image.
That's a Chris Wildgood original.
Chris Wildgood, yeah.
So, without any spoilers, what can people look forward to with issue 2 then?
Without any spoilers.
Without any spoilers.
Oh Christ!
Dinosaurs.
Yeah,
That went quiet.
Ninjas.
Yeah.
Ninjas, maybe. I guess I could probably add in what I like because I'm still working on it.
Elizabethan political intrigue.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll stick Jay McDonald in, and then I know I've got a definite.
I'll be buying the original art, my friend.
Tony, you should totally get like a commission list for Jay McDonald's.
We should do it. So next time I'm at a big convention, I need to go around everyone and go, do you know Jay McDonald? They're going to think I'm a proper fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
Doesn't she? She must do a con of some type.
It's not so far. She's not really fallen on hard times enough.
Well, not like a kind of like, not like a Comic Con, but like, just like meet a celeb con.
Not falling on.
Not an MCM, you mean? Yeah.
What's that one where you can get your celeb to do a like? Oh, she's not on that app.
Is she on Cameo?
I don't think so. I've not looked.
He's too classy for that, my friend.
Well, yeah.
Done a bit like that.
I know, it got popular through lockdown, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Yeah. Who's the right-wing geezer who tried to do Brexit?
Barrage.
He's on it, isn't he?
Yeah.
He did one the other week where someone trolled him and he didn't realise.
With the huge...
Right.
There's loads in there.
The huge
anus. Absolute pisser.
Huge anus.
No, he's not on there. She's not on there.
Oh, no, that's no good.
That's a bit of stuff in the face.
Well, she's going to be friends of ours once she sees the comic anyway, isn't she?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Heather McDonald, who's that?
Who?
Heather McDonald.
Not sure.
I don't know those. £71.
I mean, the rest of the show isn't going to be you browsing people.
No.
Oh, Sam. So
there's Bret the Hitman Hart on there. I'll leave it at that.
That's what he needs to know. He's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Absolute fucking classic, right? But Sam, where can people get hold of like the first issue of Splorers and like obviously like print, digital, or whatever?
So it's only available digitally at the minute. So it's on by Small Press, which is run by our friend Aaron. So if you go there and buy a comic from me, you'll also be supporting him. So that's always good. And it's also on Comic House.
Sponsor the show.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Every time it's mentioned, no, I was about to say an angel gets his wings, but that's not how it works.
We get a tenner.
Yeah. Oh. I'll be saying it for like 2 hours straight.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Oh, Tony. What?
That was a Lady Death. My Lady Death collection just collapsed.
Oh, you didn't your thing? You glued the arms on Booster Gold.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I got a booster like a Justice League International figure, which I wanted for ages. I got it a couple of years ago now, but I wanted it for ages because it just looked cool, and certainly it was one of those eBay purchases that I probably paid more than I should have, but I wanted it. And I had it up in the old house, and he was posing with his thumbs up because it's just an awesome looking action figure. But when I came to move house and I went to move him, both of his arms came off. It was like a clean, like a snap. It was almost like, it's just terrible, isn't it? So, but the big comic news of this weekend, people, is that this weekend I glued his arms back on and he's back on the shelf.
Have you got a Blue Beetle for him as well?
No, I need to.
Or Mr. Miracle. They did a Mr. Miracle as well, didn't they?
Yeah, but it was a certain line, wasn't it? That
yeah.
Yeah.
You get them cheaply unboxed, wouldn't you? I think if they're in a box, they'd probably be expensive.
I'd like to have the Blue Beetle one because gold, isn't it? Classic geo.
Yeah, definitely classic.
But anyway, enough about my shelf.
Blue and gold.
Yeah, go forth and just check out Splorers because it's a great book, and hopefully you've learned some stuff. If you're thinking about making your first comic, do it because then you'd be like Sam and you'd be on the show.
What?
Mate, he's living his dream, aren't you, Sam?
That's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but by all means, just drop me a tweet if you've got any questions.
That's on, yeah.
There you go. And I think that says it all. because if you want to make comics, just ask some people who make comics because they're always willing to help.
Yeah.
Or sabotage you.
Or yeah, they don't hinder like we do. No. But no, certainly, yeah. Follow Sam. There'll be a link in the show notes, etc., to get the book, etc. But he's with us for the rest of the show because he's a maniac. And what shout-outs do we have this week, gents?
Shit.
We were talking about it before the actual show. Okay, I've got a couple.
Go for it.
First up, and there are going to be a couple of Kickstarters. First up,
I missed that. Sorry, my internet dropped out for a second there. What was that? Sorry, guys.
It's just shout-outs, Tony. Don't worry.
Oh yeah,
Don't
I've got
worry.
some.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, I'm going first. Don't just come back just to step all over my fun.
Somebody's played a guitar in my garden. I don't know who it is.
Is it a busker?
I don't know because it can't play.
That's pretty
Sorry,
weird, isn't it?
In your garden? You don't have a very big garden.
Well, I think it's in the garden next door. But yeah,
right, okay. That'd be weird if it was in your garden.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you head on over to Kickstarter, there's a couple of campaigns you need to be checking out. The first one is the Samurai Slasher collected edition. Go forth, check that out because that's going to be a big enough book that you could kill a human being with. And it's packed full of like the existing campaigns and some extra material, and there's loads of stuff. So check that out on Kickstarter. Just search Samurai Slasher, of which there's been a few campaigns before, but this is the collection you want. And go and look and sign up because on the June the 1st, the new Legend of La Mariposa book is hitting Kickstarter. And
amazing.
From James Lawrence, that book is. I didn't think there was going to be a new La Mariposa book. He's done it just to like get me to say it over and over again because it's a right mouthful at this time of night. But in all seriousness, the luchador, the fantastic action comedy luchador wrestling sort of fantasy comic is back, and I am going to be pledging like an absolute bastard because it's such a good book. I've got the black and whites. I got the first collection. James is a fantastic artist. And you should really support them. So if you go on to Kickstarter, it's not out yet. Like I say, it's June the 1st it launches, but you can go on to Kickstarter and sign up for sort of updates, and because that's what a lot of people are doing now, isn't it? That's the thing, isn't it? People are scheduling.
That's the best thing to do.
Notifications, isn't it, for when the Kickstarter goes live?
Yeah,
gives you an idea as well.
Yeah. So go forth and check that out. We've been very privileged to have a brief look at it. I know I'm going to be recommending it soon enough because it looks flipping awesome. So, and yeah, that's my one.
Can I just say thanks to Signals from the Hill, which is the Avery Hill podcast, who have been running our advert. Yay. Remember the advert we did a couple of years ago with just us pretending to swear a lot? They've been running it. It's very kind of them. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Always enjoy your podcast. Now. It was the one where I went, oh, lucky we didn't say this or this. You remember? And there was all loads of bleeps. And then, speaking of Kickstarters, thanks to everyone who pledged to Atomic Hercules Weapon of Mass Destruction. It ended on Friday triumphantly, so thanks, guys. I really appreciate everyone who's bought it. The test print went off on Friday, and as soon as we get that back and the money drops, which usually takes about 2 weeks with a Kickstarter, we'll be sending off to print. So it won't be long. It's all the art and everything's done. All the article in the back on Isla, She-Wolf for the SS is complete, which you'll get to read. So looking forward to you seeing it.
Lovely.
Should we say thanks once again for Tom for help hosting the drink and draw?
Yes.
Friday.
Thank you to Tom Curry for hosting the drink and draw, and to everyone that joined us at the I Am the Draw Lawless drink and draw that was this past Friday. Good fun. Lots of artwork was to be had. There was an awful lot of fantastic Mekons flying around, which are Dan Day character, not something degenerate that we've come up with on this show. One that I just chucked together, and for some reason I did him with a toupee with a bag of chips and an iron brew. I don't know what's wrong with me sometimes.
Can I give a shout out?
Please do.
Please
do.
No, you can't. No. Yeah, go on, man. Yeah, sorry.
So this is a Kickstarter. It's called Dunce, Good Boy of the Year.
Oh yeah.
By is it Jens K. Stive? Sorry if I've
we've talked about his books before. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I follow him. I've been following him on Instagram and Twitter for years, and his work is really, really good.
He's done a couple of LCAF, so I've met him at LCAF a few times. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, nice one. He's a good lad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have we had him on the show yet?
No, he's. I get a feeling is he Norwegian. I don't think
He's
English is his
Norwegian,
first language.
Well, it's not ours.
Well, yeah, it's not my third, but I don't know whether how it would work. He might be okay for a shorter interview, if you see what I mean, V.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely give him a shout. I heard him on a podcast, I think it was last week, and I was having a chat with him because he sort of he was saying to me that he weren't sure whether his English was like good enough to understand. And I thought it was absolutely perfectly fine. Like,
yeah, it's probably better than ours. Yeah, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And he's
well, that's all right. It's bloody hell. I mean, you get someone on as soon as they hit the 60-minute mark, they all of a sudden become.
Yeah, we'll give him a shout.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, I've bought a few of his books.
Yeah. So lots of wonderful sort of. It was a bit of a Kickstarter week that week, wasn't it? But that's because we said about this briefly before we actually start the show. There's loads of it about at the moment, and there's loads of great books. So whatever you're supporting, obviously, pledge your money and enjoy your comics.
I suppose Kickstarter was inevitable. It was going to go large, wasn't it, during lockdown because of the lack of conventions and stuff. But it really has exploded, hasn't it?
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of collections as well.
Yeah.
And another one that's upcoming is Sagas of the Shield Maiden Volume 2. Looking forward to that.
Oh, yes.
Fucking awesome. And you never know, on the campaign page, I'm not going to say it's certain, but there may be a quote from someone, a testimonial.
Hey, nice one.
Yeah. From someone who does the words well good, innit?
Used to be always start chasing the pull quote. Who could we get?
Yeah.
We've
had a few now, and we were done all right.
Yeah.
Been all right, yeah.
Best pull quote I've ever seen on a book is on one of Banksy's books, where he got a quote off the Met Police, and the quote is, "You're never going to get a quote for your book cover off us."
Oh,
I remember that. Brilliant.
Well, we have got one coming up from Forpe's Missus that just says "Why."
Yeah, like that.
That's quite a good one.
Yeah. Although, when was it Nocturnal? Oh God.
Oh, commissions. No, Nocturnal.
Yeah, it was Nocturnal.
Jason McNamara's book. Yeah,
Jason McNamara's book. He put a quote of ours on there, didn't we?
What was it again?
It was me just going fucking hell.
That's right. Yeah,
that was it. That's one of my proudest moments.
I think it's when I showed it to you and you went fucking hell. Yeah. Yeah.
And that guy's
fantastic book.
We need to catch up with Jason. Actually, I haven't spoke to him for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got that ghost ship thing coming out, isn't he? Which I'm on board.
I think a lot of that's come out. I need to go back because I know I pledged to it in the Kickstarter campaign. They've been sending through digital sort of chapters, sort of thing. So look at it, but fantastic creator you need to get on board with. Speaking of fantastic, let's recommend some work for some lovely people. The guest goes first because that's how we. He's awesome. Got a couple for us.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll
take it away.
So first I'll go with Ruinworld by Darrell Laufman, or Laufman.
Great.
Sorry again if I've mullered your name. He's a Canadian artist who he's just had a Kickstarter completed for like an art book, but he's put out a couple of trade paperbacks over the last few years, and Ruinworld is one of them. And I just really love his artwork. The story is really good. It's like a kind of adventure quest kind of story with some characters who are like pigs and frogs and anthropomorphic animals and stuff. Going on a quest to sort of find like I'm trying to remember now. I read it in January and I've slept since then. They're going to try and find like some form of treasure, and I can't quite remember exactly where it is, but then there's like this badass wolf with a gang of like other like meaty animals like rhinos and stuff. And it is really good. It's a really good story. The artwork is really good, and his colour work is like phenomenal. Like I follow him on Instagram, and you just get a taste of his colour work every single day, and it's so good. So definitely look up that one. And then the second one, because I'm rereading it at the minute, is Jeff Smith's Bone, which is a classic to a lot of people, but for me,
sort of minor hit, wasn't it?
I think it
underground
gained some popularity with some people, but I only read it for the first time last year.
All right.
It was one of those things I'd heard of, but never got around to it. But back when you could go into comic shops, I was flicking through it, and some random person just kind of tapped me on the shoulder and said, that's the best comic you'll ever read. So I was like, right, okay, fine. So I picked it up, not on that day because I didn't have 30 quid on me at the time, but I picked it up
during single collection, the big
yeah.
It's one I need to get on my bookshelf. I'm missing that. I really need to get that.
Yeah, and it's so good. Like I read it last year for the first time and absolutely loved it. He's described it himself as like Lord of the Rings meets is it Bugs Bunny or something like that?
Yeah,
right.
And rereading it again, I can see what he means by that, in the sense that it's a bit of a slow starter. So there's stuff that happens, but for the real story to really begin, it's kind of like that kind of kicks off maybe. I guess maybe a third of the way through, like the big single volume, and the single volume's like 1,300 pages or something. It's not boring to read. I'll stress that. Like the stuff that happens in the first third of the book is interesting. It's funny. The story's good. The artwork is so good. But then when it kicks off, when the sort of the meat of the story really starts to happen, it's just really, really great to read through. I think when I read it last year, I read the last 400 pages in one night because it was just you
didn't sleep that night then?
No, I finished it. I finished it by about 11 o'clock. I had one of those times where I'm just reading through it like so quickly because I just had that. I've got to keep reading. I've got to find out what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And before I knew it, I was like, I've nearly finished now. I've only got 100 pages left. I might as well carry on.
Yes, it's not a slow read, is it? It's a real page turner. There's not loads on each page, is there? You can read it like that. You can read it in big chunks.
Yeah. This time around, I've kind of taken my time a little bit, so I'm kind of finding break points. Not necessarily like reading one issue in one go, but just finding break points in the story, like maybe a scene change. And just so I can slow it down a little bit and take my time over it, and also just gives me a chance to look at the artwork again, because that's another good example actually of being minimal with your line work at various points. So there's lots of settings in woods and things like that where he just suggests like loads of trees in the background without actually drawing loads of trees in the background, and it's that again is another kind of a masterclass.
Have you read Razzle by him?
I haven't. No,
that's good.
No,
I like it. Yeah, it's more adult, but it's interesting.
That's the one about the art thief, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Clever.
He finished that one as well, didn't he? He did finish that entire.
Yeah, so you can get a lovely hardback of it. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a Kickstarter happening now, actually, hasn't he?
Oh right. What's that for?
Yeah. He's got a book called Tukey or something like that, and it's
Tukey and something, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-volume project that he's putting out.
Tukey Saves the Humans. There you go.
Yeah,
cool.
And it's kind of set. I think it's kind of set around the time of like humans and Neanderthals and all that kind of. Is it Neanderthals? I don't know.
Maybe he's a bit short of money. Maybe he needs to do a Kickstarter.
I think it's already funded, to be honest. But but I've not funded that one yet, just because it's a bit out of my price range for the printed books at the minute. So I don't want the digital versions.
No, but we will put a link in the show notes.
Yeah,
because I was totally unaware that was a thing. Fantastic recommendations there. Well, Bone hasn't been mentioned for quite some time, but every time I hear that name, my heart sort of hurts a little bit, because I'm thinking, that's one of the big ones for me. That's The Gap. Okay. I know everyone sort of says Akira. I do want to read Akira, but there's an awful lot of that, or Cerebus and things like that.
I've not read that through. I've only read isolated issues, and I really need to.
Yeah. I've got issue 1, volume 1 of Akira, but it's in Japanese. So I've not actually read it.
Yeah.
It's the only way to read it. I learned Japanese just to read it.
Well, my brother lives in Japan, so
all right.
He's not done it recently, but he's sent me a couple of books. So I've got volume 1 of Akira and volume 1 of Nausicaa in Japanese as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So, I mean, from an artwork perspective, you can certainly flick through them and appreciate that, but I've not a clue what's going on.
yeah. Looks good though.
Yeah.
I love Japanese writing. Looks lovely, doesn't it? Yeah.
I ordered a German edition of The Next Demon Slayer book for my son. So
I bought Vince a French copy of a book I loved once accidentally for his birthday.
But it was a beautiful book.
Yeah.
It's proudly on my shelf, Tony.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Just going back to Jens and Dunce, if any publishers are listening in the UK, can you chat to him about getting his stuff published like in the UK, please? Because they get in France, they get like really beautiful hardback versions of his books, but obviously it's all in French, and I can't read French, so I've not bought the books. But whenever I've sort of said to him, "Oh, come on, can you send these? Can you publish these in England?" and he's like, "I'm trying."
Yeah, we're all trying.
Please reach out to me.
Yeah. So there you go. You've been called out, publishers. Speaking of calling out, who wants to go next?
I got two. Shall I bookend you guys?
Who were?
Just to mention the first one. So it's Strangers issue 5 has arrived. We obviously had Eddie on a few months ago. This is the biggest one so far. I don't actually know how he's got staples through it because there's so many pages in it. Black and white A5 magazine format. There's so much good stuff in this. It's just page after page of good stuff. There's an interview with Alexis Ziritt and Dave Baker. I'm a big fan of Ziritt's work. There's a strip by Lee Stevenson, who often comes to the Drink and Draw as a pal of ours. There's a mail call reviews, which they've been very kind about, a comic from me and Adam, and a comic that Adam did. Very kind of them. There's a meeting between Flaming Carrot and Spider-Man in a strip. There's a drawing of, I think that's Doc Ock with his knob out. That's quite interesting. It came from the dollar bin with Tom Neely, and it's about crappy comics he's found in the dollar bin. I love that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's really good. There's a really long form interview with Ken Landgraf. Now, Ken Landgraf is brilliant. Love Ken Landgraf's stuff. He did he's done all sorts of things, but he's kind of known as being the godfather of outlaw comics, really, I suppose. New York City Outlaws. He's done some Marvel 2-in-1s. He's done some Two Gun Kids. There's a lot of stuff that he's done, but he's got this real sort of crazy, transgressive outre style that's just lovely. I love looking at stuff. And if you go right to the back, keep going all the way through all the craziness, there's an episode of Jungle Land from Mr. Forpe in the back, which is gorgeous. Which is, I think he used all of the ink in Hertfordshire on this strip, but it looks great. That's my one. So go to Strangers. They've just dropped their most recent drop was Friday. Me, Forpe and Forpe were like sitting there with our alarm clocks on, ready to go, because I had, on the previous one, I lost out on a couple of books because of the 2-factor authentication kicked in on my PayPal.
Shit.
And those books sold out while I was trying to waiting for the text to arrive, for that 30 seconds. But I tend to order them. I tend to order a load at once. So I know shipping from America can be quite expensive, but it really is worth getting. And then this shows a real love of comics and a real love of the depth of knowledge of the stuff here. And this is where the true experimentation is going on, as far as I'm concerned. They're not afraid to take risks. They're not afraid to upset. They're not afraid to artistically go in a different direction. And it's just gorgeous black and white stuff. And it's really good. There you go. Strangers issue 5.
Little fact, I was reading an article today, and it cited how much time was wasted per year on those capture things, and it's a ridiculous amount of years spent.
Right, okay.
People waste time doing captures.
Yeah, I'm not a robot.
They should do away with them.
Yeah. There you go.
So, can you click all the traffic lights in this picture or something?
It's always traffic lights.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the picture's 4 pixels by 4 pixels. I can barely make out what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What's your recommend, Dan?
Mine's not a comic, but it is about comics. Okay. And I've been speaking about this the past couple of weeks, but it's Crowdfunding Comics. It's an ebook by Dave Cook, A Guide to Marketing, Running and Fulfilling a Comic Book Kickstarter. And I was talking to you briefly before the show. Like you kind of read, well, most of the time it's bloody videos now, but you would read a guide on how to do something, and there's like 100 odd lines, but there's only 5 in it which were like, oh, that's the good stuff. That's the one you wanted to know. It's like this book is made out of those five lines over and over. It's really straight to the point. Tells you, it breaks down chapters. You've got scroll back up to the chapters. you've got like your preparation before you start running your campaign, after your campaign, and a little bit of an outro. And Dave just takes you through the steps of setting up a Kickstarter, what he does, what recommends, what works, what doesn't. I've used unknowingly used a couple of these myself. I mean, he's even got stuff about like preparing a contract and stuff, like conversing with artists and how to kind of get them on board. Obviously, if you're like myself, you make your own stuff, that's not so relevant, but there's an absolute wealth of stuff on marketing, do's and don'ts, on running the campaign and the prep. It's, if you're considering doing a Kickstarter, spending £5-10 to get this ebook, I would think it's a good move. It's chock full of stuff that you think, yeah, that's really good, that's a great idea, that's a nice little one, that. And yeah,
you did send that tweet, I've just noticed.
Yeah, to get us some money.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Dear Gail, do you recall commenting positively about my friend Tony's hair? He said you remarked on how good it looked at a convention a number of years ago.
Oh my God.
We'll see what
Tune in next week to see if Gail Simone is still following Dan Butcher.
Probably not. But I'll tell you what, I'll say this in a but it's 109 pages, but it absolutely blasts by. I highly recommend this. I think it's a really good buy.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
So you've got
I'll have to pick that up for later in the year.
Yeah, it's got how to fill in your CN22 form guide, which we now need because of Brexit, which is awesome. Got another bit of paperwork to do when sending shit out overseas. Good stuff.
Stuff like that. Yeah, essential reading. My pick this week is one that I sat down finally to read through. It's one, and obviously it was all over the scene at some point, but you know me, I go against the grain, and I read comics when I want to read comics. No, basically because I don't have time to read comics. But I finally got around to sitting down, and I have been reading this on and off actually for a while actually. But it's the amazing Skrawlz comics magazine. The printed version. I was all about the printed, and I this is one I funded on Kickstarter as well. I pledged to, and what is there to be said that has already been said? Well, fuck me sideways is a beautiful magazine. I don't think anyone said that, but they feel free to use that on your next on issue 2, because Skrawlz is page cover to cover, it's full of fantastic content. We talk about anthologies, sort of, sometimes you have your good and your bad. This is just consistent all the way through. Fantastic artwork. I mean, the Skrawlz, we've talked about them many times, and they're becoming infamous. Every single one of them is an amazing artist, and they've got together with a few other collaborators for sort of original stories, short stories, something a bit different from what they normally do. Some irreverent, some funny, some dark, some thought-provoking. There's sort of prose pieces, there's interviews, because it is a comics magazine. I do like the fact that in the sort of contents it has a list of comics and then the magazine bit. It's clearly separated. It's so well put together and manicured. And manicured, I've never used that word to describe a comic, but I'm sticking by it. But the credits, you got Simone Darmini, apologies, Phil Elliott, Mark Hughes, Jessica Lucas, Russell Mark Olson, Rosie Packwood, Nick Prolix, John Repian, Matt Simmons, Martin Simpson, Mark Stafford, Lucy Sullivan, Pete Taylor, Gustavo Vargas. Whew! And it is
cracking artists on that list.
It's absolutely stunning. And I could pick out any one of them. Just it's a book that you go. Once you've read, you still go back to marvel at just some of the pages. I mean, Gustavo's just an absolute beast. Russell's just, I don't want to highlight it. Okay, if I'm going to pick out one, I'm going to pick out one that isn't one of the Skrawlz themselves. Sorry, lads, but you know I love you anyway. But the one that I've read several times and makes me laugh all the time is Clash of the Behemoths from Mark Stafford, and it's like a kaiju story with a little bit of a satirical, a wry British humour twist. that after a couple of stunning pages of a monster wrecking a street, cuts to a conversational piece which just had me... It feels very real and made me laugh. It's one of my favourite sort of comics of the year, this little story here. And the way it sort of... It's almost in 3 sections, because you have that moment and then it gets back into the monster movie that sort of makes you realise how horrific these creatures are. Nice. That's just an absolute highlight. There's a couple of the Skrawlz that we haven't had on the magazine, on the show yet. And like Pokemon, we will catch them all. Or diseases.
Has Nick Prolix been on before?
Oh yes. We're the only ones.
He's been on a couple of times.
Yeah, we just haven't had Mark Hughes or Martin Simpson.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
mine's been on.
That was
Convention one.
Convention one. Yeah, you know what I mean. You know when we've
had him on since then, haven't we? Didn't we have him on after that?
No, I don't think so. Unless, no, has he?
I can't recall.
I thought we asked him. Well, we definitely asked him to come on. I can't remember what happened.
Well, if you're listening, Martin, if you have come on, sorry. If you haven't, we're coming for you. No, but seriously though, go to skrawlz.bigcartel.com. I love the fact that these guys are just supporting each other as well, and it's just it's a murderer's row of fantastic comic talent to check out. So yeah, skrawlz.bigcartel.com. You can get the digital and physical editions of it, and well worth your time. And it's going to be good to, when we're back at conventions, seeing copies of this magazine flipping everywhere. They're going to fly off the tables. So there you go. That's mine. Tony.
Cool. I've just screen shared. Just
which is pointless on an audio medium.
I know, but we're going to talk about it. Well, we do an audio medium about a visual fucking collectible, don't we? So
yeah,
I'm sure we can describe it.
But we can't go, look at this page.
No, I can describe it. And
yeah. I'm only messing with you.
Fucking hell.
So easy to wind up. Go on.
Go on then, describe this one, Tony.
Pussy, can you see it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well done, there you go. I don't have to fucking describe it then. I'll do it. Okay. Pussy Manfists by Forpe. He wanted to do go back and do a sort of I suppose like a mini comic that you can hand out. It didn't cost too much.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a machine, Forpe, and he's always doing stuff.
Yeah.
So this was the project he went on to after we did George Mayhem, because he's obviously finished George Mayhem, even though you haven't read it all yet. So it's Pussy Manfists. So it's about a bloke. He's this sort of blue collar guy, and he goes away for the weekend, and he forgets that he hasn't. Oh fuck it! He says, I haven't left any food for the cat. So the cat says, "Where is Jim? No, where the fuck is Jim? Did I just hear him leave?" And he sort of sat there in the kitchen, and there's no food in there, and he's looking at it, and he shouts. Can you see what he shouts there? One of the reasons I'm screen sharing.
Yeah.
He shouts the C word out. 3 hours later, he's sort of tapping at the windows. He's trying to open a jar of wieners, which we all know are sausages, and he gets very angry. But as part of it, he manages to sort of evolve in the kitchen and grow hands. So he grows hands and a sort of super strength, and he manages to open the wieners and eat them. And then he sort of practices fighting. He starts like shadow boxing with these new fists that he's got. And then Jim finally arrives home, and the cat, who was previously called Mittens, asks what's happened to him. So Mittens jumps up and pulls the bloke's eyeball out, and then swings off on the bit of the eyeball that connects to the brain. And Jim's done for. Jim's going to die, isn't he? So he grabs hold of Jim's head and pulls the top of Jim's head off and kills him. And then he sort of has a little bath. He gets rid of the blood. And then on the way out, he says, "Mittens was my slave name. Call me Pussy. Pussy Manfists." That's the coolest last line ever.
Yeah.
That's worthy of a Clint
Yeah,
Eastwood
that's great.
movie, isn't it? Yeah. Really good. It's for those that can't see it, it's like a cross between Tex Avery cartoon and something from the San Francisco underground scene circa 1972. It's just so strangely, weirdly excellent. He's a real original force in comics, I think, Forpe. I genuinely think he does this stuff that I don't think anyone else there is capable of doing. And he's changed tack slightly recently. He's gone perhaps into a more sort of adult arena. We've talked to him. We talked a bit about it before, and certainly with George Mayhem, he's doing that. And And good on him. You can't. A lot of people, a lot of kids artists do adult stuff. We were just talking about Bone, weren't we? He does adult stuff as well as the as well as the Bone stuff, and I think it works perfectly. And sometimes that little counterpoint of having something that looks maybe slightly cute turns slightly sinister, doesn't it? When you see it pulling people's eyeballs out and breaking their heads in half, which it does, which is really good. So that's mine. Pussy Manfists by Mr. Forpe. If you go to www.forpe.co.uk, you can I think it's free. You just go and get it, and they say he sends it to you for free. I think he's doing a print run. I've got my name down for one of them. You can follow Forpe on Twitter at Mr. Forpe, MrForpe, and it's the same on Twitter as well. But yes, as I say, it's free. Just go and get yourself a copy. It's great stuff. It's just fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's fun. It's got energy, and Darrell's just the man. So yeah.
I always have to caveat whenever I recommend Jamie Smart's stuff. For that same reason, like his adult stuff still has lots of kind of cute looking characters.
Yeah.
So whenever I talk to parents, I'm like, right, make sure you buy these books and not these ones.
Yeah.
You don't want to get caught out there.
Yeah.
Or if you're like me, you just want to buy all of them.
Actually, what I do say is I don't say don't buy these ones. I say buy these ones, but keep these ones for yourself.
Yeah.
And those ones for the kids.
Yeah. Classic. Much like this show. This show is for everyone, and it's been full of fantastic comics talk and comics recommendations, and lots of stuff to put in the show notes this week. It's a cornucopia of. Am I going to get a pat on the back for it? Cornucopia of comics. There you go. Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Nice. I think. God.
You teed it up, smashed it over.
Thanks, Dan. I'm just looking for affirmation. I've got a week.
You do good. You're bringing the A game.
Thanks, Dan. Cheers.
Doing?
I just really appreciate it, Dan. I really appreciate you being there for me.
Fuck that.
Well. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and that was wrong. I should have done an EastEnders. Yeah, it should have been that. Yeah, it should have been that. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If there's any things you want to let us know about, or if you have any questions about like making comics or getting comics out there, or more about the stuff that we talked about this week, please get in touch with us. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @theawesomepod, where we'll be chatting about this, that, and the other, and what we've got coming up, and retweeting if you're nice. I'm making no promises. But if you need the Book of Faces, go to facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast and join the community group on Facebook, Awesome Comics Talk, because it's a fantastic community of great people just talking about making comics or comic conventions, and there's art threads and there's all kinds going on there. It's been a real good time, and it's been a real boon to a lot of people, I think, during the lockdown and stuff. So yeah, we want you to be part of the community, and we'll let you in. All you got to do is answer a couple of questions and act like you know us.
Yeah.
Robert's
your father's brother, you're in.
Exactly. Thank you for listening to us, whether it's on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe and leave a review. We haven't had one in ages, and if we don't have one soon...
fucking ages.
We haven't had one for over a year, yeah.
I mean, look what it's done to these two. I mean, we're tearing at each other. This used to be a show of love, and now our fragile egos are so weak, and we're going to have to fight to the death.
Seeking sort of like pity of strangers by leaving a review.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'll leave you.
Do it.
Hey, there you go. Ignore what we said then, because we will have one now. So yeah.
Fuck you lot, got one.
Yeah. But
I've bugged myself now though, because I'm going to have to make it a good one, because you'll know.
We'll check.
You'll know if I give you a 1 star, you'll know it's me.
Oh God! Right, yeah, we're going to have to watch that. But,
it's 2021. Nobody gives bad reviews anymore, do they?
No, not anymore. This is the show that will buck the trend.
Yeah.
But if you listen to us on any other networks like Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife, what other networks are we on, Tony?
We're on Pod. Leanne Rhymes is all about the value.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I immediately thought of Con Air though, and that's not a bad thing.
It is about the value.
Okay. Don't come at me like that. I'm not
I
going
hope
to
I hope the Smoky Man's in this one.
I'm not getting any of these references.
No,
T.
no.
You got them 2 weeks ago when we did the bare naked ladies joke.
I don't think I did then.
Yeah,
Where can people find... I think you're thinking about your other podcast, Tony.
I'm not.
There's probably listeners screaming.
There is listeners screaming, but then again, they do every week. And they're probably screaming, where can we find you online, etc., Tony?
Neverhidanything.com.
There you go. Dan.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read the final 2 pages of this issue of Vanguard this week.
Woo!
There's a massive couple of pages.
Why was there the pause?
I had to choose my words carefully.
Okay.
And we're getting videos from you now.
Yeah, man. Videos are going on the Patreon. I've got
Dan, I need to get one of those lights. I love that light you've got.
Did you Photoshop a mask on your recent video? Or was that you actually wearing a mask?
No, I just grabbed one. I've got like the stock photo I use all the time. I just grabbed one off of Google and used the Photoshop skills and stuck it on.
Rather than taking a picture of yourself wearing a mask. You just went,
oh, fuck that. That's way too much effort.
Way too much effort, and yet you went to Photoshop and cut.
Just Photoshop the mask on. I like because it's the same thumbnail every time with the same photo. I love it. There's a sort of a mundaneness to the same photo being used over and over.
Oh my life.
Some might say art. Some might just being lazy. Sorry, Vince.
Hang on. There's 2 of them this week.
But I can send you the link for that light video. It's only 20 quid. I'm sure you might like it. Yeah.
Lovely.
You're not going to buy one, Vince, are you?
Yeah.
Come on, Vince.
Yeah.
What are you buying a lamp for?
Because we're going to be doing sexy flash dance videos. And if
you
want to
can finally do the dance video.
Yeah, we're just going to do.
Oh yeah, you got your dance video to do.
Shut up. You can
I've
follow me.
mentioned that for a while.
You can follow me on social media at Just the Diablo. And Sam, you've been. I'm not going to say that you've been a bad influence, but there has been some rude words on this episode. Is it a coincidence that you've been on it? Maybe. I'm not to say, but where can people find you in your wonderful comics?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter as @SkinnyDrawnBoy.
Nice one.
There you go.
And you can read Splorers on Comic House. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. So go forth, people. Have a lovely week wherever you are in the world. We hope you're happy, healthy, and doing okay. We love you. Even Tony. He said he doesn't, but
I don't.
He's a softie. Inside he's mashed potato.
No, still don't.
Yeah, still do. I'm going to embrace you soon, Tony.
You're going to what? Me soon?
Embrace you.
Yeah,
you know it.
We can from tomorrow, can't you?
Can you bone strangers as of tomorrow then?
Yeah.
They're calling it a fair day, aren't they? So all these people who put their affairs on hold are just going to go for it tomorrow, aren't they?
Oh my God. Fucking...
I wonder how many babies we made tomorrow. So
God.
what's 9 months from now? We'll have to figure it out when there'll be a huge boom, won't there, in kids?
Yeah. Like called Covidia or something like that. I don't know.
Chlamydia.
Well, there'll be a lot of that going around as well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening, everyone. You have been absolute legends as always. Stay tuned for more comics, fun, and entertainment next week. There'll be something like that anyway. But
Miko's next week.
Hey?
Yeah, we've got a great episode next week.
Good one.
Yeah.
Another good one, I think, is what you're trying to say.
Another good one.
We don't put out bad ones.
Sorry.
307 and there's not a duffer. There's not a duffer.
All killer, no filler.
Exactly. Oh. And speaking of killers,
Lady Death special next week.
Have a killer week. Have a killer week, everyone. Read loads of comics. Just be happy, healthy, and we love you. And from Dan, Tony, Sam, and myself, have a great week. And what should they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Oh, that was awful.
There was a real sort of lack of energy at the end. It was sort of like just. I mean, in Sam's voice, there was a kill me now moment. Bye, everyone.
It is what it is.
I just weren't sure of the timing.
No one
I
is.
can never figure it out.
No one is. I always expect the magic moment to happen, but it never does. Yeah. We'll get it next week.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Magic moments to come.
So, see you next week.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.